You may not feel like you're doing everything right, but your body may be whispering a truth you haven't noticed. Your heart might be healthier than you think. And sometimes, it's the smallest signs that tell the biggest story. Life has a quiet way of speaking to us, through our energy, our breath, and the soft rhythm of our own heartbeat. But in the chaos of daily life, we often miss the clues our body is offering, gentle reminders that our heart is not just surviving, but thriving. In today's video, we'll explore the subtle, surprising signs that your heart is doing better than you might believe. These aren't dramatic symptoms or emergency warnings, but quiet victories. Signs of resilience, of healing, of hope. And you may already be experiencing them without realizing just how powerful they are. Let's listen a little closer to the heart within you. 1. Resting heart rate between 60 to 100 BPM. There's something powerful about silence, especially the silence in the moments just before dawn. For Margaret, 67, that silence became sacred. Every morning, she'd sit by the window with her coffee, watching the sun rise and listening, not to the birds or the breeze, but to her own heartbeat. It was a small ritual, but it carried enormous meaning. After a heart scare 5 years ago, Margaret became hyper-aware of every thump in her chest. That fear of the unknown, of what could go wrong, lingered for months. Until one visit changed everything. At her routine checkup, the doctor smiled. "Your resting heart rate is 72 beats per minute," he said. "That's not just normal, it's healthy." Margaret blinked. For the first time in years, her heart was quiet. Not racing from anxiety or pumping from overexertion. Just calm, steady, safe. A resting heart rate between 60 and 100 beats per minute is more than just a number. It's a sign your heart isn't overworked. That it's functioning with ease, sending blood and oxygen efficiently through your body, even while you're at rest. For Margaret, it meant freedom. Freedom from fear, from stress. From wondering if her heart was ticking like a time bomb. So now, when she sits by the window each morning, it's not just habit, it's healing. She's no longer afraid to listen, because that quiet, steady rhythm? It's the sound of life, of resilience, and of a heart that's healthier than she ever imagined. 2. You can climb stairs without getting winded. It started with 4 simple steps. After her morning coffee, Margaret stood at the base of her apartment stairs, unsure. Just a few years ago, those steps felt like mountains. Each climb left her breathless, her chest tight, legs trembling. But lately, something had changed. There was no gasp for air, no pounding heartbeat. Just a calm, steady rhythm that matched her pace. She took the stairs again, and again. Day by day, she noticed it was getting easier. And not just easier, almost effortless. The ability to climb stairs without getting winded may seem minor, but for your heart, it's a loud and clear signal. It means your cardiovascular system is working efficiently, delivering oxygen where it's needed without overwhelming your lungs or forcing your heart into overdrive. Doctors often use this simple test, walking up a flight of stairs, as a quick snapshot of heart health. If you can make it up without needing to stop, or without feeling like you just ran a marathon, chances are your heart and lungs are in sync, functioning the way they should. For Margaret, it was more than a physical milestone. It was emotional proof. Proof that her small changes were adding up. The walks around the block, the salads instead of sweets, the quiet evenings instead of stressful news cycles. Now, every step she takes upward is a celebration, not just of stronger legs or clearer lungs, but of a heart that's learned to carry her forward. No longer fearful. No longer fragile. But full of strength she never knew was there. 3. Normal blood pressure levels, around 120/80ths of a millimeter of mercury. Margaret never used to think twice about her blood pressure. It was just another number the nurse rattled off during checkups, until the day it spiked. She remembers the moment clearly. Her hands were clammy, her heart pounding, and the cuff around her arm felt like a warning bell. "You're at 145/92, the doctor said gently. "It's time to pay attention." That day, Margaret began a quiet revolution. She cut back on salt. Walked every evening. Learned to breathe deeper and stress less. She didn't chase perfection, just consistency. Months passed, and with each small shift, the numbers changed too. At her next appointment, the nurse smiled. 120/78. Textbook perfect. Normal blood pressure, around 120/80ths of a millimeter of mercury, isn't just about avoiding heart attacks or strokes. It's a sign that your heart isn't struggling to pump blood, your arteries aren't under constant strain, and your organs are getting the oxygen they need without pressure building like a storm behind a dam. Consistently healthy readings suggest that your blood vessels are flexible, your heart is steady, and your lifestyle is supporting rather than challenging your cardiovascular system. For Margaret, those numbers weren't just clinical, they were personal. A sign that she was regaining control, that her heart wasn't fighting a silent battle anymore. Now, each time she hears the soft velcro of the cuff tighten around her arm, she no longer braces herself. She breathes in, calm and sure. Because that quiet 120/80 means her heart is not just beating, it's thriving. 4. You sleep well through the night. For years, Margaret believed that waking up several times a night was just part of getting older. She'd toss and turn, check the clock, drift off for an hour, then wake again, mind racing, heart uneasy. The mornings felt heavy. Her energy, drained, but something shifted. As she made changes to her daily habits, cutting down on caffeine, walking after dinner, turning off screens before bed, she noticed the nights growing quieter. The restlessness faded. She started sleeping through the night, sometimes for 7 or even 8 uninterrupted hours. At first, it felt strange, unfamiliar. But soon, it became the new normal. And what followed was unexpected. Clearer thinking, steadier moods, and a calmness in her chest she hadn't felt in years. Sleeping well isn't just about feeling rested. It's one of the clearest signs your heart is functioning smoothly. Deep, uninterrupted sleep allows your blood pressure to dip naturally, your heart rate to slow, and your cardiovascular system to reset. Poor sleep, on the other hand, keeps your body in a state of alert, raising cortisol levels, tightening blood vessels, and overworking your heart long after your day is done. So when Margaret wakes up now, she doesn't feel the need to linger in bed or pour a second cup of coffee just to function. Her energy flows. Her mind feels clear. Her heart, steady. What once seemed like a luxury, one full night of sleep, is now her body's quiet confirmation that healing is happening. Because when your nights are peaceful, it often means your heart is too. 5. You don't smoke and limit alcohol. There was a time when Margaret never questioned her evening glass of wine, or the occasional cigarette she shared with friends back in her younger days. It was part of the rhythm of life, a way to unwind, to feel connected. But as the years passed and her awareness of heart health deepened, those small habits began to carry a different weight. She remembered the statistics, the warnings, the family history. Her father, a smoker, had passed suddenly from a heart attack at 62. The memory haunted her, not with fear, but with a quiet determination to do better for herself. So, she stopped, gradually, first the cigarettes. Then she cut back from daily drinks to the occasional celebratory toast. And over time, something subtle began to change. Her mornings felt lighter. Her breathing, easier. Her heart didn't feel like it was dragging her through the day, it was lifting her. Avoiding tobacco and limiting alcohol are two of the most powerful decisions you can make for your heart. Smoking damages the blood vessels, stiffens arteries, and lowers oxygen levels. Excess alcohol raises blood pressure, weakens heart muscles, and can trigger irregular rhythms. But when you remove those toxins, your body, especially your heart, responds with gratitude. Oxygen flows more freely. Blood pressure stabilizes. The heart beats with less strain, more ease. For Margaret, these changes weren't loud or dramatic. They were quiet victories. A calm pulse. A steady breath, a sense of freedom. Because sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for your heart is simply stop what's hurting it. 6. You have steady energy throughout the day. Margaret used to hit a wall every afternoon. Around 2 p.m., like clockwork, her body would crash, her limbs heavy, her mind foggy, her motivation gone. She'd reach for another cup of coffee, maybe something sweet, hoping for a second wind. But the bursts never lasted, and the fatigue always returned. It wasn't until she began paying closer attention to her heart that she realized the problem wasn't just in her routine, it was in her circulation. As she made healthier choices, walking more, eating balanced meals, getting quality sleep, she noticed something new. Her energy stopped crashing. The day no longer felt like a mountain. She could go from morning chores to evening phone calls without feeling like she had nothing left to give. That steady, even energy? It was her heart speaking. A consistent flow of energy throughout the day is a sign that your heart is doing its job, pumping oxygen-rich blood to every organ and muscle efficiently. When your cardiovascular system is strong, your cells receive what they need, when they need it. No lag. No burnout. On the flip side, sudden fatigue, especially after minimal effort, can be a quiet red flag that your heart may be struggling. For Margaret, those smooth, energized hours became more than just productive time. They were reassurance. A silent rhythm that kept her going, not in bursts, but in balance. Because when your heart is strong, it doesn't need to shout. It simply sustains you, minute by minute, hour by hour, one steady beat at a time. 7. You recover quickly after exercise. Margaret used to dread the walk home from the park. Not because of the distance, but because of how long it took her body to calm down afterward. Her chest would thump, her breathing would stay shallow, and sometimes she'd feel dizzy even after sitting down. But now, things are different. After a brisk 20-minute walk, she'll pause at her front steps, take a breath, and feel her heart begin to slow, almost immediately. No racing, no tightness, just a calm return to her resting rhythm. That quick recovery. It's not just a comfort, it's a sign of a healthy heart. When your cardiovascular system is strong, your heart rate doesn't stay elevated after exertion. It knows how to respond to movement and how to recover afterward. The faster your heart rate returns to normal after exercise, the better your cardiac fitness and autonomic nervous system function. Doctors often measure this recovery rate after a stress test to assess heart health. A drop of at least 12 beats per minute within the first minute of rest is considered a positive sign. For Margaret, the difference was night and day. Where once her body took 15 minutes to settle down, now it was 5 or less. That newfound calm after activity became one of the clearest signs that her heart wasn't just keeping up, it was thriving. Because recovery isn't just about bouncing back physically. It's proof that your heart is resilient. That it can rise to the challenge and return to peace, just like Margaret. 8. Healthy cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Margaret still remembers the nervous flutter she felt while waiting for her lab results. It had been a full year since her last blood work, and though she'd made better choices, more leafy greens, fewer fried foods, she wasn't sure if any of it had really worked. Then the doctor smiled. Your cholesterol levels are in the healthy range, and your triglycerides are down. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. In that moment, Margaret felt lighter, not just in body, but in spirit. Healthy cholesterol and triglyceride levels are some of the most reliable indicators of heart health. When LDL, bad cholesterol, is low, HDL, good cholesterol, is high, and triglycerides are within normal range, it means your blood is flowing freely, your arteries are clear, and your heart isn't battling against buildup and blockages. High LDL and triglycerides contribute to plaque formation in the arteries, a silent process that narrows the vessels and raises the risk of heart attacks and strokes. But when you keep those numbers in check, you give your heart room to do its job, without the added pressure. For Margaret, the lab report wasn't just medical data, it was validation. Every salad, every skipped dessert, every morning walk had made a difference. She didn't need perfection, just progress. And her blood told the story, clearer, cleaner, and safer with every heartbeat. Because when your cholesterol and triglycerides are balanced, your heart isn't just functioning, it's protected. And that kind of peace can't be seen on the outside, but it pulses quietly within, every single day. 9. You manage stress effectively. There was a time when stress ruled Margaret's life. She'd lie awake at night replaying conversations, worrying about her children, her finances, the future. Her chest would tighten. Her heart would race, even when she was still. It felt like her body was living in a storm that never passed. But slowly, she began to reclaim calm. Not all at once, but in moments. She started journaling before bed. Practiced deep breathing when anxiety crept in. Took long walks without her phone, just listening to the wind in the trees. And then one day, after a difficult conversation that would have once sent her spiraling, she noticed something surprising. Her heart didn't race. Her body didn't tense, she just breathed. That's when she realized, she wasn't just managing stress, she was protecting her heart. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline, keeping the heart in a constant state of overdrive. Over time, this can raise blood pressure, damage blood vessels, and increase the risk of heart disease. But when you learn to respond to stress rather than react to it, your body shifts. Your blood pressure lowers. Your heart rate stays steady. Your system finds balance. For Margaret, mastering stress wasn't about eliminating problems, it was about changing how she carried them. And that shift didn't just bring peace to her mind. It brought healing to her heart, because a calm heart isn't a coincidence. It's a reflection of resilience. A sign that beneath life's chaos, you've built something stronger, a quiet, steady core that keeps you going. 10. Number swelling in ankles or feet. Margaret used to brush it off, the way her shoes felt tighter by evening, or how her socks left faint grooves around her ankles. She figured it was just part of getting older, maybe from sitting too long or walking too much. But when it started happening more often, she grew curious. Her doctor explained it gently. Swelling in the ankles or feet, especially when it appears regularly, can be an early sign that the heart isn't pumping blood efficiently. When circulation slows, fluid can pool in the lower limbs, and over time, that harmless-looking puffiness becomes a red flag. Thankfully for Margaret, those days were behind her. Since embracing healthier habits, daily walks, more water, less salt, her ankles remained slim, her shoes comfortable, her body lighter. No more end-of-day pressure. No more discomfort creeping up her legs. And that absence? That's a sign worth celebrating. When there's no swelling in your feet or ankles, it typically means your heart is keeping up. It's pushing blood through your system effectively, without backup or fluid retention. Your kidneys are functioning well, your veins are supported, and your overall circulation is smooth and balanced. For Margaret, each time she slipped into her shoes with ease, it was a small moment of triumph. A quiet confirmation that her heart was holding steady beneath the surface. Because sometimes, what's not happening, no tightness, no bloating, no swelling, is the best sign of all. A sign that your heart isn't just surviving, it's thriving, without needing to call attention to itself. 11. You eat a balanced, heart-friendly diet. Margaret's relationship with food used to be simple: eat what's easy, what's comforting, what's familiar. That meant lots of salty snacks, processed meals, and desserts she lovingly called her daily reward. But after her heart scare, she began to see food differently, not just as fuel, but as medicine. At first, the changes felt overwhelming. Kale, quinoa, salmon instead of sausage? But she took it one step at a time. Swapped white bread for whole grain. Added a handful of berries to her breakfast. Learned how to season with herbs instead of salt. The shift wasn't just in what she ate, but how she felt. Her energy stabilized. Her digestion improved. And most of all, she felt lighter, inside and out. A balanced, heart-friendly diet is one of the most powerful ways to protect your cardiovascular health. Foods rich in fiber, healthy fats, antioxidants, and essential nutrients help lower bad cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, and fight inflammation in the arteries. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Choosing leafy greens over heavy cream. Fish over fried. Nuts over chips. Whole foods over boxes with labels you can't pronounce. Margaret didn't go on a diet, she created a lifestyle. One rooted in care, not restriction. And over time, the benefits were undeniable. Clearer lab results, more energy, and a calm confidence in every meal. Because every bite is a choice, and every choice, a message to your heart. For Margaret, that message is simple. I'm here for you. With every forkful, with every heartbeat. 12. You maintain a healthy weight. A stable, appropriate weight reduces the load on your heart and arteries. Margaret never chased a number on the scale. But she did chase feeling better, less tired, less achy, more in control of her body. After her doctor gently pointed out the connection between extra weight and heart strain, she decided it was time to take small, sustainable steps toward a healthier life. No crash diets. No extreme workouts. Just consistent change. She walked after dinner instead of sitting down with the TV. She watched her portion sizes, added more color to her plate, and learned to listen when her body said it was full. Slowly, the pounds came off, not in dramatic drops, but steady, quiet releases. And with every few pounds lost, something else returned. Ease. Climbing stairs didn't leave her winded. Her knees stopped aching. Her sleep improved. And most of all, her heart didn't feel like it was carrying the weight of her past choices. Maintaining a healthy weight is one of the most protective things you can do for your heart. Excess weight, especially around the midsection, can increase blood pressure, raise cholesterol, promote insulin resistance, and force the heart to work harder to circulate blood. But healthy weight isn't about thinness, it's about balance. Energy in, energy out, strength, mobility, and freedom. For Margaret, the scale isn't a source of stress anymore. It's just one of many signals that her heart is lighter, her body more in sync, her life moving forward. Because when you carry less on the outside, your heart carries less on the inside. And that means every step, every breath, every moment, gets a little easier to love. Your heart is more than just a muscle. It's a memory keeper, a silent companion, a constant rhythm that's been with you through every joy and every loss. And if today's video helped you recognize even one small sign that your heart is doing well, then that's worth celebrating. Because you deserve to feel safe in your own body. You deserve to trust your heart. If this video touched something in you, please take a moment to like it. Share it with someone you love, someone who might need reassurance today. Subscribe for more soft, truthful insights into your health and healing. And tell us in the comments, what small sign are you grateful for today? Let's honor the quiet strength of our hearts, together.